Okay, we're back, and we're sorry about the problem that we had there. That computer went dead on me just like that. I mean,
Yeah,
very little warning.
we had to connect some things earlier, and something got loose a little bit, so we apologize.
All right, so Matt, we're back. Let's talk Liberty Bowl, Arkansas versus Kansas. Tell us a little bit about what you think and what you see in today's game. Do you feel good about where Arkansas is at today?
I want to say yes. My heart says yes, but my mind says no.
Yeah.
I mean, we're playing with less than 60 scholarship players today. If Arkansas
48, by the way, 48.
If we've got a chance to win this game, it's going to come running the football.
Right.
They cannot abandon the run today. Kansas is 121st in total defense, 116th against the run, 130 against the pass. They're 124th on third down, and they're 119 points allowed this year.
Are you saying we can't run Rocket like 9 times and get a win?
No, they Rocket. They need to run Rocket till his legs fall off.
Right.
I mean,
Correct.
I'm talking a 30-35 carry game for him today.
Oh, yeah.
That's not reality in Kendall Browse's world.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm calling plays, I'm running Rocket right, Rocket left, Rocket up the middle, and then throwing the ball to Rocket in the flat.
Right.
I ride number 5 today if I'm the Razorbacks, because in simple fact, you go back to, you look at what we don't have coming back in this game in the receiver position. You're going to be playing a lot of youth.
Oh, yeah.
No Keytron Jackson, no Jaden Hazelwood, no Trey Knox. So production, you 2 of your top producers at the receiver position are out today via portal and in the NFL. We're starting a new center today. I mean, I know moving Limmer over is something he's excited about, but
Right.
Or is it Latham?
Oh, it's Limmer.
I think it's Latham.
Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah,
I
moving
can't.
Latham to
I always
center,
get those two.
He's excited about that, but you're starting a new center. You're starting at least one new guard and a new tackle today. I'm just concerned that we're not going to be able to throw the football effectively today.
Right.
And then with Kansas on offense, Jalen Daniels. I've watched Kansas. I mentor a couple of Kansas football players in a charity thing that I work with mental health. And Devin Neal, number 4 with Kansas, is an absolute stud ball carrier. 1,000 yards this season, 171 carries, 6.2 yards a carry, scored 9 TDs. Leading tackler is their safety, Kenny Logan's got 96 tackle on the season. But that offense is made to go by Jalen Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen, to me, is a skinnier version of KJ. He's a more effective passer than KJ is. 6 foot, 215 pounds. He was 115, 175 on the season for like 66%. A little 1,400 yards, 13 TDs, and only threw 2 picks. The thing with him was he was a little injury plagued this season. I know he got knocked out of the TCU game, and I know he missed the game against Oklahoma. But that kid is very, very efficient throwing the football.
Right.
Kansas is 38th in total offense, 7th on third down. And I think that's the key stat right there. You look at where we're at on third down, I think we're in the 90s or 100th percentile in the country on defense on third down. And then you look at how effective Lance Leipold's offense is on third down, being 7th in the country. I think this is going to be who scores the most points today.
Could be. It could be. And, it's been, honestly, it's been that way all year, right? I mean, when you think about it, this would be a different thing, honestly, if it wasn't Arkansas trying to outscore Kansas. I got to lean on the thing. You've got to think if Arkansas can run the football on some of these SEC schools, they should be able to run the football on Kansas.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
But I tell you, it's like you said, my heart says, sure, Arkansas is going to win this ball game. No way we're losing to Kansas, right? But then my head says, I just don't know.
There's been so much turnover this year, and what I was going to touch on with you saying that about the being able to run on Kansas, a Big 12 team, is also all those stats they put up, and I do like their offense, and they've talked about it a lot in the build-up of some of their options, late options. You got to really stay home on it defensively. But the Big 12 defenses, let's just be honest. I'm not saying the Big 12 can't come in and kick your tail one game. They can. But the Big 12 defenses up and down are not what you see in the SEC week in and week out. So you want to kind of have that feather in your cap a little bit, and you want to say, hey, that works in our favor when you're making the prediction if you're going to win this or not. And then you got to think, hey, we got to run the ball a lot. We ought to have success. They're terrible. But they've also had 10, whatever practices it is, to figure out a way to stop and make us do something that we don't want to do. So, like y'all are both saying, your heart says yeah, but your mind's saying, I don't know. Slow your roll here a little bit.
I picked Kansas to beat us on our bowl preview show a couple of weeks ago. I think I said final score is like 41-38. I didn't know until I started doing the research. We hadn't played Kansas since 1906. To me, I think Kansas, if I'm scheduling, if I'm Hunter Yurachek, Sam Pittman, I'm scheduling Kansas about every 5 or 8 years and playing them. Because, it's a natural – there's a natural border side there. Where, the fan bases would communicate well together. I'd love to see us playing basketball as well.
Absolutely. Right now, especially.
I don't want to say I'm apathetic, Brad, but I'm just kind of at a point like I'm kind of ready for football season to be over.
Well, I can say by your tweets that you're not apathetic. You're I would say you're probably on the mad side more than anything else. But
I've been pissed off since the A&M game.
Yes. So let's. Wayne Richardson wants to know: has Kansas been hurt by the portal like Arkansas?
No, they have not, and that's the thing. Kansas is bringing back, other than a couple of outliers that they lost in the portal, but nobody that's going to affect them to where they can't do what they've been doing all season.
Right.
Now they've got some guys that were injured. Another kid I mentor that was kind of a Lynch guy, kind of a reserve guy on the defensive line. Demarion Alexander, kid had a knee surgery, was planning on being back for the game. Went in to work out during rehab, dropped a weight, flat weight on his foot and cracked his big toe and had to have a screw put in. So he's out. So they're a little thin for defensive end position as far as, rotatable players. But, most all their guys are coming to play this game. Kansas hadn't played in a bowl game since 2008.
Right.
And, we talked about this, and Coach Kelly and I kind of went back and forth about it. Kansas has got more of a walk and talking reason to want to play in this game.
For sure.
Yep.
I kind of feel like we're limping into this. If we'd have won the Missouri game, I'd have felt a little better about it. I just feel like, just kind of going away the season, and the season went, and then you get some of the guys that aren't playing, the Strombergs, the Hazelwoods, losing Keytron is huge. And then on the defensive side of the football in the secondary, losing Miles Slusher, I'm worried. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not confident that we're gonna be. I think it's gonna be a shootout. I really do, unless Kansas just absolute craps the bed. And Lance Leipold is a very squared away coach. Folks are gonna say, "Well, he's 8-16 at Kansas." I tell you, that dude can coach, man. He's 154-55 as a head coach. And he's convinced Kansas to dump $300 million in new facilities at KU.
That's big time.
Yeah, he's turned it around.
He has convinced Kansas, of all people, as bad as they've been over the last 60 years, he has convinced Kansas to drop $300 million in facility upgrades and investment. And that's huge for a coach that's trying to build a program in the Big 12.
Sounds like a guy Pittman would like to have on the recruiting staff.
Absolutely. Well, Matt, listen, man, we do appreciate you coming by, talking to us a little bit. Yeah. And we're excited. This is something that we're trying new. Who knows? We may do a little bit more of this before it's all said and done. And, we'll talk to you a little bit about basketball as time goes on, as we kind of figure out what we're going to do here. Appreciate you joining us. Hey, tell them about Big Pig Energy one more time, when they can watch it and where.
Big Pig Energy, we're going to be adjusting our schedule a little bit with basketball season, obviously, with the games being played midweek and weekend with conference schedule coming up. We're probably going to do a show once a week, more than likely to go live on Sunday nights. That way we can cover both games for the previous week. And then when baseball season goes in, we're going to do something similar to cover baseball and softball season as that goes. The lineup for the panel members is going to change a little bit. There's going to be some shifting around, more appropriate to the sport that's going on at that time. But check us out on YouTube. Obviously follow us on Twitter, Big Pig Energy. Also, Brad, hey, check us out tonight after the basketball game. We're going to have a live space on Twitter. We'll be covering, obviously, talking the bowl game, and then we'll be talking about the basketball game live on Twitter after the end of the LSU game tonight.
All right. Well,
Awesome.
Matt, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good day.
Okay, we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we got Coach Sean Caldwell is going to join us, SC22, off of the Arkansas 24/7 board. I don't know if you follow him or not, but boy, he can talk some ball, so we're going to talk some X's and O's with him. We'll be back here in just a moment.
We understand an upside-down world. We understand a rogue virus, zero jobs, and stratospheric tuition. But they're writing us off before we get to the starting line. A stalled generation? Not so fast. Who do you think is gonna fix all this? We will. We will because our future is the future. Because the life we have chosen has prepared us for this moment in history. So we're going to build bridges and hospitals in a day. We're going to save families from disaster and feed those left in the cold. We're going to do all this and more because we have an appointment with destiny. We invite you to join us. The next greatest generation is now.
Hello, we're back here on the Arkansas Sports Network call-in show, pre-bowl game. Pre-action is what Bill likes to call it.
I like some pre-action.
Hey, let me get to a couple of these comments real quick before we get in. We got Coach Sean Caldwell on the line with us. Aaron Woj, our friend Woj, he says,
What's up, Woj?
Hogs win 41-31. Kansas is scary, but he's going to go with his heart on this one. Talks about the young players being motivated. And then Wayne Richardson says, if we lose this game and finish 6-7, is some of the luster of Sam Pittman going to start wearing off? I think
It's already started.
Yeah, I think that's happened. I'm in the Pittman.
Not by me.
No,
but,
right. I'm in the Pittman corner for sure. But I tell you what, it has been,
Tumultuous.
you're moving up, and then all of a sudden you're not quite doing that. But
Right.
we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Coach Sean Caldwell with us real quick. He's going to talk a little bit of what he expects from the Razorbacks and the X's and O's. Sean, thanks for joining us, man.
I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to the game. Excited to get to see it. I heard what y'all was just talking about, and I'll just start off by saying, when you look at every time that I want to be like, hey, I'm getting frustrated about the way things are going, I revert back to the tenure right before Pittman, and what he's taken things from. And yes, last year we had a great year, but when you look at the scoreboard, we were close to being a 9-win team this year. It wasn't like we were getting thumped or blown out. I know that you can say that probably the reverse side of it last year because we won so many close games, but I mean that's how fragile things are in the Southeastern Conference. And you start getting a couple of injuries here or there, and you get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And, Arkansas definitely dealt with the injury bug this year. And then not only that, but coming into the year, they replaced their whole secondary after you had Jalen Catalon for one half of football this year.
Right. Our best half of defense besides the LSU game.
Exactly. And so, I mean.
There I go again, calling them LSU. Sorry. I apologize.
It's hard to, to put a lot of blame in the coaches. For me, it is anyway, because of all the injuries and all the issues that they dealt with. But at the end of the day, it is the coaches
Right.
that
Responsibility.
are responsible for what is a 6-6 record. Right
But
now.
like what Sean just said, the dumpster fire he took over with what Beelan was last year, and then Morris. It is impressive what he's done, but the depth, you cannot build the kind of depth you need in that short a period of a time. And we were really, we had our podcast at the time, the Razor Wire, going on
Right.
the summer before the 9-win season, and we were feeling good. We were drinking the Kool-Aid coming in, and we had some pretty good expectations. We actually thought we were crazy. I think you deleted the episode after we were like, man, we look like a bunch of crazy rednecks or whatever you want to say.
Yes.
But
soup.
but it
We look like a bunch of
right.
soup. Right?
but inside joke there.
Right.
But it came to fruition. We actually were right. I had us 9-4. Now
I had us down to 3 games in the middle losing, which I was off the one
Yeah.
game. I said they'd lose A&M and then Georgia,
Yeah, you had
A&M,
it one
Georgia, right, and
I think
and
you had
Ole
us.
Miss, and they
Yeah.
ended up being anyway. All that being said, you're right, Sean. Go
I
ahead.
want to throw this out there too. This thought in the state of today's college football, with the transfer portal and everything being as prevalent as is, you're going to find that the majority of the teams, minus the top 3 or 4 teams in the country, none of them is going to have depth.
Right.
And when you start having injuries, it's going to hurt everybody. And like I said, you got your Georgias and you got all those teams that it won't affect as much. But I'm going to tell you, another thought, when they move it to a 12-team playoff, I think it will affect it. I think it'll even affect them some, because now the playing field's evened, and the same 4 teams won't be in the national picture every year. And with all these kids opting out and stuff and making these bowl games look not important anymore, I just think in today's college football, unless they get a handle on it, and I don't know what they're going to do to get a handle on it, but my point is depth is not going to be something anybody has. I mean, when you're seeing teams come out and have 40-something scholarship players, I mean, I liken what we're going through right now. It's similar to what LSU went through last year. When they went into their bowl game, they were down to like 30-something kids. And they played their tails off, and it was a bunch of the kids that got experiences playing this year for LSU. And I'll use that to segue into what I'm talking about. How I think that the major thing from this game is going to be the amount of young talent that will be the majority of your 2-deep next year.
Right.
You're getting a preview of the 2-deep next year. Obviously there's going to be some changes with the portal and some of these freshmen, like I think Jalen Braxton and guys like I think a few of them have chance to immediately make an impact. But my point is with the biggest majority of your 2-deep, you're going to get to see them today. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking forward to in this game.
Aaron Wojciechowski says that it feels like the fan base is going to use Morris as an excuse every year. This is an outlier of a year because of the injuries, but taking a step back next year, and Pittman has got to start being looked at like the other coaches, not always getting the Morris excuse. I think that's fair. I do think that the Morris situation, it was so bad that Eli Drinkwitz turned the job down. A guy from Alma, Arkansas, a guy that has family 48 miles south of Razorback Road, he turned the job down because the situation was so ugly. Pittman comes in here as a guy that, one of those guys that you didn't really expect to come in and be the head coach.
At that point.
And nobody really wanted the job, I guess, because they went to Pittman. But, Pittman came in and has done an admirable job here. But at the end of the day, you've got to get that momentum back that he's had since he's been here up until the A&M game.
Yeah, and
Go ahead,
Sean. I was just gonna say I agree. There's a little bit of lackluster came off, but he's still, in my opinion, he's done a very admirable job, and he's continued to, as we're getting a call in here, but you want to take that?
That's something that we'll have to do. Well, if you're calling in right now and you're a caller, please hang up. We've got Sean coming on. We'll bring you in just a moment.
Okay.
One last thing I want to point out that when you talk about this, you talk about a head coach that, and I don't think that saying that we had a 6-6 year this year is giving him a pass. I think this bowl game's important. I think next year is vitally important for him. But look, you had a head coach that you look at the team and we feel like the team wasn't strong enough. What'd he do? He fired his strength and conditioning coach and went out and hired another one. Yep. It felt like we needed to upgrade in some positions, and he did. Whether they left on their own or they were told to leave or whatever, we don't know that. We never will. Right. We know the majority of it is that they took jobs. I believe Odom took a job to upgrade himself. I believe Loggins probably did too. But, you know, what I'm saying is he did what a head coach is supposed to do. He looked, he evaluated, he saw that there's problems, and he's trying to get it fixed.
And, and we touched on this already, but we're 9 points away from being a 10-win team. So, you know, you got to take a little bit of that into it as well. That, like we were saying last year, the point was we probably kind of did a little better than we should have. To be honest,
and I think that hurt.
And that hurts.
It hurt this year.
Potential.
When you go 9-4, you finish ranked 20th, whatever it was. Probably should have finished ranked higher than that. Probably like 15th. Somewhere there was probably more of an appropriate ranking for that team. And then you come back this next year and you're 6-6 in the bowl game, or going into the bowl game, you know, and really you're in the Liberty Bowl because Missouri didn't want to play in it. You know, all that plays into the fan base kind of being against it. So anyway,
Brad, I'm going to tell you, I think the season turned when the fumble happened against A&M. Because when you go back and you look at that, it never really got back on track from there. But for a half of football, we looked like a dominant football team in that game.
Yeah,
and we were completely dominating that football game. But that's how fragile our depth issues were, and we had a couple kids go down, and we just couldn't recover from it.
Yeah,
100% agree with you.
Well, Sean, tell us a little bit about what you expect from today's game, and what can give me, I guess, not necessarily a prediction, but how does Arkansas win this game today?
Arkansas, if we win this football game, I think this is going to be a shootout. I mean, they run a 4-3 defense, which is not super conducive if we can get the RPO working, which, I mean, I don't know who they're going to throw it to other than Matt Landers, obviously. But that question is going to be answered here in about, an hour.
Maybe Hudson Henry finally has that game we've been praying for 4 years.
Also, I'm looking forward to seeing if Isaiah Satania can help, because this is really the first time he's been healthy all year. And so you've got him, and then Bryce Stevens. Obviously, he's had some big games this year, or big catches this year, I should say. But I really look for a high-scoring affair. I think with our offensive line, minus Stromberg, which, I mean, you can disagree with me or whatever, but I think Stromberg, is replaceable. I'm not saying he's not great. He is great, but I think he had one of his roughest years. I mean, he had things go wrong this year that he typically would not have done. I'm excited to see how Bo Limmer responds. I've kind of thought after the season was over, he would be the one they would answer the center question with. He's built like one. He knows the offense.
He's strong.
He's strong. And he's not a great puller. So now he's a down blocker, which is kind of what you're going to do in most of the time as a center, or you're going to base up, if it's an odd front. But so many teams now are multiple. You have to have a smart center up front calling the shots, because there's very few teams that are say, well, I'm an odd or an even front spacing team, and that's just the way it is. Right. I mean, we mixed it up all year. But with that being said, I think that if we can establish the over-the-top passing game with Landers, I think we can score at will. But the question will be, can we stop anybody? And that's going to be the question. It's been the question all year, and we don't have a Drew Sanders, which is going to hurt us.
Oh, yeah.
But I am excited to see how Jordan Crook steps up, and I've heard a lot of good things about him. We'll see how he plays. I will say, Paul it's not like we've lost much because he's played all year.
He's good. I think
he
he's got
really
a high
is.
ceiling.
I do too. He really, really is. McAdoo and McGlothern are both playing. We're still going to have problems at safety, I'm afraid, in this game, but we'll see. I am a little worried about their offense. They read the backside of they do some interesting stuff of reading the backside of RPOs and reading the backside of option zone read stuff, which is unique. They do some unique stuff. Their quarterback can really run, so our young linebackers are going to be tested. And with their running game, it's going to be hard to not let him go nuts on us because, they're going to basically be able to block an extra blocker or two play side because they're going to be able to read. And, we're going to be limited with what we can do. I've heard we've practiced forefront most of the practices. It's what I've heard them talking about on some of the talk shows. So we'll find out. But,
it's we might need to send like a Simeon Blair down into the box and make him a linebacker like me and you have been saying all year.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if they don't, we know where they're going to throw the football. And I hate to say that, or I'm not trying to pick on anybody or single anybody out, but I mean, he is every team's hot route. I mean, wherever he's at is where they're checking to.
I think he could be a fine outside linebacker. That's kind of the thing on him. He's not completely without talent, but he's more of a linebacker playing safety, in our opinion.
Jericho Nelson, he reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he can tackle.
DeAndre Berry, one of those kind of guys.
Yeah,
tweener.
He's not a great tackler, but or not a great coverage guy, but he does make plays around the line of scrimmage. But all in all, I mean, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think we'll be able to tell pretty early. I do worry about
their option.
About the option. I think we'll tell pretty early our game plan on it, but will we be able to adjust? That's the question. I mean, I think you're looking at something like a 41-34 Kansas win. Is kind of where I'm thinking. I don't have a lot of expectations for this, not because I don't think we're any good, but just simply because, these guys are where we were last year against Penn State.
Right.
And they've got a lot to play for. I think when you line up talent for talent, I think we're more talented than them across the board. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. But if our defense can adjust, I think we have a chance to win the football game. And I think we'll win it on that side of the ball if we're going to win it by getting a stop or two.
Yeah, a couple turnovers get really big in this game. They do like to run the option. Maybe we can be opportunistic. Maybe Hudson Clark can get a pick in there. That could be enough to kind of sway it our way defensively.
I agree, and I think our young guys are going to come out playing hard. I worry about their conditioning because they haven't played as much this year, and they haven't had a lot of snaps, and so are they going to be able to hold up for 4 quarters? Because we don't have a lot of depth. I mean, we just don't, and we hadn't had much depth most of the year, but we probably have a little bit less now. And when you go as far as experience goes, I mean, we're not too far away from what an NFL roster goes into an NFL game with. But so it can be done with that amount of players, having a 2 deep. But, it's unproven.
And it's really unprecedented area as well in the last, our lifetimes. So, what was it, the COVID year? Remember the rules where you couldn't play that week if you didn't have so many? I want to say it was more than 48. I want to say it was like in the 50s or something, where if you didn't have that many, you got to forfeit the game.
Wasn't that the reason we didn't play? Because the team we were playing, I think it was Baylor, didn't have enough or something?
TCU,
yes. TCU didn't have
that's
enough.
exactly what happened. And of course, individual positions played a role. If you didn't have at least 8 D linemen or something like that, which if you a lot of people don't remember this, but we won 3 games that year. We kind of got cheated out of the Auburn and the LSU game, and but in that LSU game especially, I can't do it, man. They our D line, we barely had enough, and other teams, we could have actually opted out of that game and got away with it, like other teams did us. And Pittman and them wanted to play the game, and we still almost beat them. We should have beat them. We had them, and we let them take it.
Right.
If you want to crown them, crown them.
I want to give Pittman a lot of credit.
Yeah.
And the staff with all the trouble that we've had this off season. This off season has been crazy since the end of the season, and yet to still play this bowl game. What he is doing is he's looking at this as, hey, we're getting to play this young talent.
Right.
And that's exactly what this is. This
That's
is
right.
a dry run for next year's 2 deep.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Sean, we need to go. We need to see if we can open these lines up, let people come in here before game time here. But we do appreciate you joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Go Hogs.
Absolutely.
All right.
Go Hogs.
Go Hogs. Coach Sean Caldwell, and if you follow him, you can follow him on the Arkansas 24/7 Sports Board. He's got a big following over there. Talking ball.
He's an
X&O
awesome
guy.
X&O dude, and I've been wanting to bring this up all day. Didn't get a chance. I wanted to do it with him on the phone, but we were all going to do playoff games. We were streaming that night. We had Hazen, and I want to say that was East Poinsett County.
Yes.
And we had Carlisle, and I don't even remember who they were playing that night. You did that game, but
Carlisle and Earl.
Yeah.
And then
Earl, the second one was it
Mount
Earl?
Ida.
Yeah, Mount Ida. So we were talking to Mosley and everything about being upset. We were mad after the A&M loss. That was the first one you really just were mad at, since Morris had been here. But that Missouri game, we watched it in Carlisle pregame before we were going to stream. We lose that game. We're all watching it, and I was mad, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that was probably the worst broadcast. I try not to let it affect me, and I don't think you can tell that I was in such a mood doing that game that night.
Yeah.
But I think everybody in the state of Arkansas, was just ticked off, and that's why you got guys like Matt Mosley out there who's not being apologetic, because that's a game we shouldn't have lost. And like he said, that was the first game of the year where we really he said that. I don't know if he said the first game of the year. He said something like that where you've seen Missouri kind of push us around, and that's why Pittman went out and fired, the strength and conditioning coach, Jamil Walker, the way he did right after the game. But if I always go back and when someone says that and think about the Liberty game, and they did the same thing as well. Liberty really pushed our offensive line around a little bit, and we still had every chance to win that game. Of course, KJ wasn't healthy. I think if we bring in a Fortin, we probably win that game. But we didn't know how bad the injury was at the time. But, so just something I wanted to bring up there that we've got everything stacked against us with only 48 on the roster. But a win today, like I think someone in our comments, Dan, is it Boucher? He was saying, 7-6 sounds a lot better than 6-7,
Sure.
And it really helps momentum. And going back to what Sean said, this is really just kind of a preview, letting these guys kind of learn and step up, and it's going to be big going into spring. And if you can get a win, it really makes it feel a lot better.
It helps momentum, but I don't even know if this roster makeup how it's going to look. They're going to get 20 kids out of the portal, so
Right.
it's just one of those things that you just right now. I really hope that we can see some of these young wide receivers step up. That would make me feel a lot
Bryce
better.
Stevens, I like him a lot. We saw the punt return. What game was that? It kind of turned the tide in that game. I can't remember
Missouri
right now. But
State.
Yeah, Missouri State. It's sad that we got to talk about turning the tide in that game, but we did.
Right.
But he's electric with the ball in his hands. He had a big touchdown on a pass on another game where he kind of broke away, kind of bobbled it, and made just a spectacular catch in the end zone. But he's a guy that I like a lot. Sean brought up Satania, and that guy, man, can fly. It's going to be fun to see how they use him moving forward. So, yeah, it's going to be big. Matt Landers, we're going to have, I would suspect that they're going to kind of bracket him most of the day. Going to be some cloud coverage over him, and they know that he's going to be our one guy that's experienced. We're going to be trying to hit a lot, but we're going to have to get some easy passes to him, kind of get the things going there and loosen it up, loosen the running game up a little bit, and see what we can do from there.
Okay, so we're going to open up the phone lines again, 314-312-3188. That's the number that you can get in here. I know we've had one caller try to call in, and we were unable to get him because we had the guest on the line. So if you're watching right now, I believe we had an El Dorado, Arkansas caller that tried to call in. So if you want to call in.
Hey, could have been some of the family of Morgan Turner.
Who knows, man? But if you want to try to call in, we'll try to get you in here. And understand that we don't have a call screener at this point, so it's just, hey, you're right on the air. So
shouldn't let everybody know that, probably.
Exactly. 314-312-3188.
I'm calling from Dover, selling some chickens.
Right. We could start our own dollar tree right here, right now, right? So anyway, with that being said, we've got a couple minutes here left on the show if you want to join us. Hey, we appreciate you joining us here on the show. It's just one of those things we're trying out, and you can see all our imperfections, but we've got some things coming up, and we've got somebody coming in right now. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it going? This is a guy from El Dorado. I'm Logan.
Hey, Logan, I see your comment in here. I appreciate you calling in. Tell us a little bit of your thoughts on the game.
Well, I know we're pretty low when it comes to the depth chart. I don't think this game has much tenure on whether or not, and I said it in the comments, I don't think this game is a make-or-break deal for Sam Pittman and his career going forward. If you look at what he's done, the people that he's let go, and we lost Barry Odom and a couple other guys, I think when you look at it, we've kind of upgraded, and what Sam Pittman's done, just look at what we've done in recruiting when we lost key staff members. I don't think this is a make-or-break game. I think if we look at it from a realistic standpoint, we don't have all the depth. We don't have maybe 10% of our starters on the field. Don't really have a defense. Haven't had a defense all year. So I'm not expecting much from this game. I'd love to see the Hogs win all day, woo pig suey. But
amen.
As of right now, I don't think this game means much.
Right.
And bowl games, in my opinion, right now, if you're not in the college football playoff, don't mean a whole lot either. Because if you look at what the NIL is doing, their kids are jumping ship anyway. Right.
So don't get me wrong. I think there's a momentum factor here.
Right.
Just getting some positive things going. A loss doesn't kill you. For me, as a Razorback fan, I don't want to lose to Kansas in football. I mean, if we're going to play them in basketball, that's one thing, but lose to them in football, that'd be tough.
Now, I will say this: a loss doesn't hurt us that much. It does not help with momentum as much, but a win in this game really says something big time about the confidence these players have, the belief they still have in Pittman, the new hires he's made. Even though those guys, I think Turner has been hands-on a little bit. Williams hasn't yet, but it still shows the confidence there. It shows that the cupboard's not bare. These young guys have got some talent, and they're obviously going to have to step up today if we want a victory. So, I mean, a loss does kind of hurt a little bit with momentum, but a win really catapults it. I mean, it's a lot bigger than it would be the other way around, in my opinion.
Especially we're so young right now.
Right.
The guys that we're playing in.
Absolutely. You're right. You're right about that. Well, Logan, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you are the first ever caller that isn't planned. So
Logan
we appreciate
Evans.
it, man.
Thank
Logan,
you,
thank you for joining us.
And I appreciate when y'all go live, man. I try to follow as much as I can. I work in West Texas, so I try to follow as much as I can.
Hey, we're
That's
trying.
what it's all about.
We're trying all kinds of new things. We got a little bit of help here and able to do this, so we may do this a little bit more, and especially on the high school side of things, we're going to do that. And who knows? We love talking Razorbacks, but to be honest with you, there's not enough time in the day to do everything that needs to be done with it, and we need sponsors to help us out with that. That would kind of solve our issues, or at least a little bit of it. But anyway, we appreciate you, Logan, and thank you for following us.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it. And woo pig.
All right. Thanks
Woo
a lot. Hey, man, that's awesome. Hey,
That's
man, right?
Yeah, maybe a new segment coming one day. We'll
Right.
see. But
Well, we said we were going to go to about 4 here. It's 3:57.
yeah,
I give you a chance to get in here again. 314-312-3188 is the number that you can call here to get into this broadcast. If not, we're going to wrap things up here in just a few moments. Get us ready for the ball game.
yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up, haven't had the opportunity yet to kind of throw it in there or not remember it at a time, but this might not set well with Kansas fans, but we've given them Bill Self, we've given them Jeff Long, so they're kind of 1-1 with
All right.
Arkansas guys. And what will we give them today? Will we give them a little bit of a black eye, or will we kind of help their coach kind of help their momentum keep going and give them a winning record?
Lance
We'll
Leipold
find
is
out.
a good coach.
Yeah, he really is. Pittman
Now-
has the utmost respect. You can tell that the way he talks about it.
So the only thing that I should say is that even though the talent should be in our favor, I mean, if you just go by recruiting rankings,
Yes,
it should be in our
100%.
favor. Rhonda Thrasher says Woo Pig Sue.
Even though there's only 48 guys left.
So, again, 314-312-3188 is your number here if you want to get in here. Give us your thoughts here as we're about 30 minutes away from the game time. And if we don't get any more callers here, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up and just say goodbye. And who knows? Watch for us. If the game goes well enough, who knows? Well, we got Razorback basketball, though, right after
yeah.
it. So,
Get
We-
to
we love talking hogs. I'll tell you that
That's right.
much right now. You know, we did a Razor Wire podcast, which some people didn't like. Won't get into that, but a lot of people did like it, and we enjoyed doing it. The problem is, again, there's just not enough time in the day to go and if you don't know this, we work
unless we
full-time-
get sponsors,
Right.
We can not work full time,
We work full-time jobs, right? And
right?
and we have kids in school, and we were going to a place and doing it live from that place, and that was the Old Bank Grill there in Russellville, and they were wonderful to us and allowed us to come in and just have a spot. They had a great spot there, but unfortunately, it just got to be too much. There was just too much going on, and we were doing it on Thursday, and then we would leave immediately and go do a ball game, and we had to get
Right.
kids. And anyway,
But now we got Big Pig Energy, and
Yeah.
that's a really well ran podcast by Matt Mosley
Yeah.
and everybody he's had on his panels. Have had some great guests and some great information that they've been bringing to you week in and week out, and that's just getting rolling. And they've got big plans for basketball,
Absolutely.
and they're gonna, like they said, they're gonna kick off that show tonight after the basketball game ends. You can check that out. You know all the Twitter on that.
it's Big Pig Energy, and then they also tweet through the Arkansas Sports Network, and so we appreciate appreciate everything that is going on. Bill sent me pictures like, what in the world, y'all? Again, I'll just tell you, if you could see, we've got a great set here behind us. You can tell it's a green screen. And me and Duran, we don't have enough room in my home right now to do a studio. So in order for us to do this, we had to get outside, which you've seen the lighting changes, which has got pretty good lighting right now other than the bar coming in, and then you can see the camera on the back of the computer.
I couldn't see for about a 10-minute period there.
Right.
The sun finally kind of got behind a tree. We're good now.
Well, anyway, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Watch the Liberty Bowl on ESPN, then turn around. You got Razorback basketball on ESPN2.
It's a great day to be a Razorback.
And then Big Pig Energy coming in on YouTube. I hope they can get on YouTube. We'll try to make sure they can get it on YouTube. But anyway, they're going in on YouTube after the ball game, which is, it's going to be 10, 11 o'clock by the time it's all said and done. So a lot of things going on in Razorback land. It's about to get kicked off. We want you to be a part of that. And again, on the Arkansas High School Sports Network, we're going to be doing a little bit more of this throughout the week, where we'll be able to talk to coaches, players.
Talk about our rankings maybe a little bit here and there. And we're going to have some more Arkansas Sports Network games of the week, basketball-wise, coming up. We're fixing to get really hot and heavy in that starting in January.
And then hopefully a state tournament before it's all said and done. So
yes, sir.
Anyway, we appreciate everybody following us. Make sure that you share with your friends the Arkansas Sports Network. Let everybody know that, hey, you enjoy what we're doing. We sure do enjoy you interacting with us and being a part with us. And so for Duran, I'm going to say goodbye. And we'll be back sometime next week, probably talking some high school sports. And who knows, we might even incorporate this into our every week lineup. So
go Hogs.
Anyway, go Hogs. We will be reacting. You can get all of your Arkansas sports needs on the Arkansas Sports Network, including the Razorbacks. Make sure you go like us, go subscribe to us, go follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Anyway, guys, we're going to see you later. Thanks for joining us here on our first ever call-in show. We appreciate you joining us, and we will be back again next week.